Aloha, Brett Christiansen here with Maui Property, and in today's video you're going to learn about the Maui County Tax Incentive Program, trying to incentivize homeowners, property owners to offer their properties to Maui fire victims. This footage is actually from the FEMA meeting that was offered to all property owners, property managers, and any concerned citizens that wanted to come out and learn more about these programs. So let's get going.
Thank you so much for coming today and for your interest. My name is Marcy Martin, and I am the assessor for the County of Maui Real Property Tax Program. And to incentivize property owners to rent the displaced, 2 real property tax exemption programs have been created. I want to say first of all that we are here as part of the FEMA program. However, our real property tax exemption programs are being offered to everybody. So if you are renting yourself to a family member, if you are renting through the state program, if you rent through FEMA, whichever program you're in, you will qualify. The criteria is you need to be housing someone who was displaced by the wildfires. So there's several programs. So first I'm going to start with the program that we already have in place, and that is our long-term rental exemption program. If you rent to anybody, they don't have to be displaced for 1 year, and you apply by December 31st, you get an exemption off of your value, and you get the preferential long-term rental tax. And it's very generous. Just you pay just a little bit more than an owner-occupied. So that's always available. The next program we have is a hybrid program. You can rent to a displaced for 6 months, and that way you would be able to use your unit how you like for the other 6 months. And that program, your lease would need to be in place for February 1. You need to include that date, and you need to apply by January 31st, 2024. So we're giving you an extra month to apply. Typically our deadlines are December 31st each year, but for this one, the deadline is being pushed to January 31st. You will need to provide the lease with your application. You will need to apply. And we have a table over here with some information. This is Carrie. This is our property technical officer. And we have flyers, but our website is www.mauipropertytax.com. So then we're going to move on to our biggest tax relief program, and that is a 1-year lease to displaced. If you lease for 1 year and your lease includes February 1st, 2024, and you apply with our office by January 31st, you will receive 18 months of tax relief. Your February 20th, 24 bill will be waived, and you will be exempt for the entire fiscal year 24-25. So that's where the 18 months comes. It's kind of retro 6 months. Did I say the deadline was January 31st? If you have a lease that covers March 16th for 1 year and you apply by March 15th, you will be eligible for 12 months of tax relief. So your taxes go to 0, and you must apply by March 15th. And so the FEMA direct leases apply. When you're applying in the FEMA program, your tenant is going to be FEMA or Lima Charlie or GEM, whatever the program is, and then I'm going to trust that your property is being leased to the displaced. And just want to make it clear that it's not just short-term rentals either. It can be half of your house. It can be a cottage. It can be a dwelling. It can be a short-term rental. Just has to be a residential property, not a commercial property like a hotel. So, get everything? Yes, I would love to take some questions.
Okay, we have an owner He's in the process of doing a lease to a displaced person, but he's doing it one-on-one. He's not going through FEMA. Is he still eligible for the tax relief?
Yes, he is. So in that case, we're going to ask for the tenant's name and the former address, and that is on the form.
Okay.
Yeah, and we do ask for a copy of the lease. And I'm telling you, the minute you get the lease to apply, and the reason why I say that is I say that for all of our programs, because we all get so busy this time of year with the holidays. Don't put it off. Don't go, oh, okay, I'll wait till January 31st. No, get it into our office. Yeah, and you can email it. That's a really great way to get things to our office because you get that receipt, right? You get that.
Question two from all of the people in our program, because some people just can't afford to do this. They cannot, they're not mean, they're not greedy, they're none of those things. They can't afford it. If they do, they're going to be foreclosed on. They want to know why and where, who's going to pay for the tax losses. And what our mayor said and our governor is going to be those people who can't afford to do this. And I pray to God our county does not do that. So do you have any information where that tax loss is going to come from?
Okay, well, no matter what, we are going to suffer a tax loss because we've lost an entire community. Yeah, so in March 19th, April 19th, our office provides the taxable values to the county council by classification. And that begins their budget deliberation. So they're gonna take, I think our property taxes are about 50% of our budget. It's the biggest single revenue source. So they're gonna take the budget and they're going to figure out how much money they need, and then they take that, they divide it by the values, and they come up with the tax rates. As a division within the Department of Finance, all departments have been asked to cut their budget 5%. So operating expenses that have, because we've already turned in our budget, because the mayor's gonna make his budget and turn it in March. So they're already working on that. And cuts have already been made to this fiscal year as well. So the county is doing their part to cut expenses. And all of these have to work together. To be revenue neutral, right, to collect the same amount of money is going to be a challenge already given our losses. So I would suggest, though, as property owners, to be part of the process. So you can sign up for legislative alerts. You can be part of the budget process. The mayor's already had his budget meetings, and the county has their budget meetings. You can testify online, but I would say it's really important to monitor, be part of the program, and if people can't afford to be in the program, they aren't going to be. We don't need the entire inventory of housing to participate. They said we need about 3,000, and we have a lot more homes than that. So, this program is really, we're looking for the people who can afford to be in the program, and hopefully people will sign up and it won't be a problem.
I just want to thank everybody for coming and providing this information. I have a question. So we have a short-term rental unit that we rent out through a management company, and we're going to have somebody move in mid-January, and it's going to stay through the end of May, I believe, through the Red Cross. Now, from what I understand, they only get Red Cross funding so much time in advance. But if everything works out, we'd like her to stay. So one question of mine is, do we get, you said tax relief, or you wouldn't be paying a tax bill? Does that qualify? You can provide a little more insight on that?
Okay, that's a good question. So I know, I didn't listen to all of your dates, but there's a 6-month program if you have the 6-month lease.
Yeah.
And it includes February 1.
Okay.
Apply.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I should probably talk to our property manager on that, right? I'm guessing.
Yes,
And
because
then-
they might have the lease, and then you can call our office. office too, just to our office to reach our compliance section. That's who processes the long-term leases. It's 808-270-7295. I think the Red Cross leases aren't 1 year though, if I'm not mistaken. Right now, the program is transitioning to this longer-term housing solution.
Okay, yeah, from what I understand, just in talking to our property manager, is that they don't put the funding out real far in advance, I guess. But I will speak to her on that. Thank you so much.
All right, I'll try to be quick. As far as the tax exemptions go, if a part of a property is being rented to someone who was displaced by the fires, is it correct that the amount of space that they're occupying in the household, that is what is eligible for the property tax exemption, not necessarily the whole property because of the split?
Yes, very good question. If you're renting a portion of a property for 1 year and you have a 1-year lease, you apply. We're going to ask you for the portion that is being rented, and then we're going to prorate the exemption. So let's give some examples. I have a house and a cottage, and I have my home exemption on the house, and I'm renting my cottage. You're still going to get your home exemption and all of those benefits on that portion, but the portion that you're renting to a displaced will go to 0.
And also just a really quick follow-up, because someone had mentioned housing and tax shortfalls and stuff. It seems that not a lot of people are aware of this, but it passed back in July. Remember that starting in 2024, there's a county surcharge for GET. So GET, instead of 4%, it's going up to 4.5%. It's going up 0.5%. So just a heads up for anyone who doesn't know.
Mine is just a comment, not a question. Just from talking with fellow property management companies, you know, the short-term rentals have been targeted, and this nuclear option from the governor, I realize it has nothing to do with you guys. And I'm glad to see that this conversation includes long-term rentals, because I know there's so many long-term rentals that have been sitting vacant, so perhaps it's not so much an economic issue for their owner that they sit vacant. Short-term rentals are reliant on income, and, you know, vacation rentals are vilified, but we are an economic engine for the county, not just income for the owners, but income for business owners as well, property management companies, housekeepers, maintenance, all of that. So I just kind of want that on the record. We're not the enemy. We want housing for everyone. We really do. And I missed that meeting for the property management industry, so I'd just like to encourage, I haven't seen or talked to anyone representing the Realtors Association of Maui or the Vacation Rental Managers Association. I'm members of both, so when those meetings happen, if you could reach out to those folks so they could communicate to us members, that would help us participate in these meetings in the future.
Thank you. So I just spoke to the Realtors Association of Maui, filled their government liaison position with Gary, who used to work for Council Services. So I've worked with him for many years, and I spoke with him yesterday on the phone explaining the bills to him. So they are a good resource, your realtor. And please have your management companies call us, and your owners call us. I think, you know, I've worked in government since 1995, and everyone here wearing FEMA shirts are government employees. And don't be afraid to participate. Don't be afraid to call. Don't be afraid to comment on legislation. You can be part of the government program. And our office takes calls. We are open 8 to 4, Monday through Friday, closed on holidays. We have open counters. Sometimes you have to wait, but usually not too long. But you can come in person and speak to someone to our office.
Okay, my client here has a huge house. The upstairs is licensed, not B&B, but vacation home. The bottom is long-term, okay? We apply for the long-term exemption, okay? What happens to the upstairs if we were to participate in this program? Because it's separate.
So you have an STRH permit, is that right? Yeah, on the downstairs. Okay. See, I'm gonna say, let's go give your tax map key or property address to Carrie, because this is gonna be unique. We don't have a lot of STRH permits, but that's great that a portion of your home is going to house a long-term, and I think, yeah. But is it to someone who's displaced though? No. Okay, I think that they're not eligible. It's not eligible, right? When you have that STRH permit, you are not eligible for the long-term, the already existing long-term rental program. Well, that's just the way that the code is written, I think. Well, so that is what I'm talking about as being a partner with your government. If you have a situation, you can write your council member and tell them about your situation and tell them what you're doing, and because they have addressed that situation for owners who live in the property and rent a portion short-term, because we have that commercialized residential. So
you're actually getting $300,000 exemption, which they're about $200,000.
or if you do a short-term rental and you live there, you get the commercialized residential. So it's no exemption, but it's a lower rate. It's a different classification.
No, we're getting $300,000.
And they're doing short-term rentals? No. Yeah.
That's correct.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. But yes, you can get your $300,000 home exemption and another $100,000 exemption for doing long-term rental, not renting to a displaced. As they said when this meeting opened, the housing shortage is it's been in the making for a long time. And so the county has been trying to create incentives for people opening up their properties to long-term housing.